Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Docker Masterclass, episode 18 of 18. Your application depends on a local large language model. You probably boot up an external inference engine, configure the network manually, and inject the endpoint URLs by hand. It works, but it breaks the isolated reproducibility of your environment. Your AI model is just another dependency, and it belongs in your configuration file right next to your database. That is exactly what the top-level models element in Docker Compose achieves. Starting with Compose version 2.38, models are a native concept. Previously, running a local model meant writing complex service definitions for an inference engine, manually exposing ports and configuring network bridges so your application container could talk to it. The new models block eliminates that friction by treating the AI model as a distinct piece of infrastructure. You add a models block at the very top level of your file, at the same indentation as services and volumes. Inside, you name your model. Let us use AI/SMALM2 for a simple chat application. Under this name, you declare the actual model identifier to pull. This is where you also define hardware constraints and engine parameters. You can set the context size to restrict memory usage. If the underlying engine requires specific launch parameters, you define them using runtime flags. The model configuration is isolated and clear. Next, you bind your application to the model. Inside your services block, you locate your chat app service and add a models array. Using the short syntax, you simply list AI/SMALM2. You do not need to configure dependencies manually or set up custom networking aliases. Here is the key insight. When you use this short binding syntax, Compose takes over the orchestration. It provisions the correct inference engine behind the scenes to serve your specified model. Most importantly, it auto-generates standard environment variables and injects them directly into your chat application container. Your code wakes up with variables like OpenAI base URL already populated, pointing perfectly to the internal endpoint of the model. You execute a single Docker Compose up command. Compose pulls the SMALM2 model, configures the engine, starts your chat service, and wires the connection. No manual API keys, no guessing internal IP addresses. Everything routes correctly out of the box. I encourage you to explore the official documentation and try writing one of these files yourself. Since this wraps up our Masterclass series, feel free to visit devstories.eu to suggest topics for whatever we cover next. By elevating AI models to native elements in your configuration, your infrastructure becomes fully declarative, ensuring the exact model version your code expects is always the one that boots up. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Go build something cool.